Hey everybody, welcome to Workforce Gaming. I am Brad, here with Doug.
Hey.
I am very excited because I just finished up Axiom Verge 2, which released during not during, but was announced to be releasing that day during the Indie World last week, Wednesday. So I sat there refreshing the store page for like 3 hours, waiting for that stupid thing to show up because I have better to do.
Every time they say it's available now, it's like it's available probably tomorrow morning. It's usually
available sometime in the next 2 to 12 hours.
Yeah. It's never quite now.
It's never now. But anyway, so I bought it right away. The first Axiom Verge came out, I think, 2015, somewhere around there. Would have been right in the middle of the Vita's life because I played it on the Vita.
Oh, nice.
But that game was very clearly updated Metroid. This game is very much its own unique thing, and it is incredible.
What?
It's so good. It's so good.
I just assumed this was going to be like another Metroidvania to throw on the pile.
So let's start here. So let's start with this. The game, you could probably play this like without using combat at all. From beginning to end, kill no enemies. Every boss, with the exception of 2, is completely avoidable. You can just run past them.
Oh, weird.
You can run past them, or some of them are kind of hard, like they'll kill you if you try and run past them, but there's like always a path around them. So you can avoid every boss.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. So that's interesting.
Yes. And that's the thing with this game, and that's what makes this so cool, is that there's 3 or 4 things that this game does that mix up the Metroidvania formula enough to make it feel really, really fresh. One of them is that there are 2 bosses, and I won't get too much into them, that you have to kill, that you have to fight. However, the way the fights are set up, you're basically invincible, so you can't die. So the two bosses that it makes you fight, you can't die.
Okay, interesting.
The other ones, you can just run around. So again, combat's completely avoidable. It's good combat. It's very melee focused. You have essentially, you start with an ice axe. You can upgrade to like an axe and things like that as you go, as you find them around the map. And a boomerang. Those are basically your weapons, but your main one is the axe. So most of my combat you're doing with the axe. So you're getting real close to things, which isn't normal in a Metroidvania. Normally you're a little bit further away. Even a Castlevania where you've got a whip, you're still, a good few spaces away from some of these. This, you got to get real up close with them. So again, it's fun. It's weird. The other thing that makes this really unique is this game actually has 2 maps. So the Axiom Verge story deals a lot with like different worlds kind of coming together in this weird like in-between area of Earth, these other areas that are maybe created by gods, maybe created by other people. You kind of really, the story is heavy in the fact that like there's so much stuff going on here. Once you get past the terms like Earth and Antarctica, it's all just like the blah and the Isabella with 6 S's, 3 apostrophes, all in one name. You're like, I don't even know how to say that. So I'm not even going to get into names too much because I couldn't say any of the stuff, I don't think.
Is that stuff fun? Because sometimes when I hear that stuff, my eyes just kind of glaze over at some point. But is it,
It's like 75-25.
Okay, sure.
the stuff that you can really follow, because most of the story, as you go through, you interact with the character who gets to Antarctica before you is the one who kind of starts up this Antarctica base, and she's the one who basically just discovers and creates this portal to another area. So she ends up getting kind of trapped somewhere. So you talk to her through old computers. That stuff works really, really well. Some of the other, and then even like some of like the main interactions work well. Where it gets like way like, oh my gosh, what is all this? Is you pick up notes as you go along. Yeah. And those notes, like half of them, it's like these people interacted with these people. And I'm just like, okay, so what I'm getting is this still bad. Got it. I don't understand the other the other 3 quarters, but I got that this still bad. Again, it works. The basic story is essentially that you go down here to find your daughter who's disappeared. You find this weird portal. Your body ends up becoming incorporated with these nanomachines and mixing with it. And these nanomachines are maybe created by these ancient gods. Maybe they're these like world destroyer things. You kind of have to figure that out as you go. There's a lot of cool story stuff that happens. Again, 25% of it is just way over my head.
Sure.
But getting back to my point about cool things, the game has 2 maps. So you've got the overworld and what's called the breach. So you have this little drone thing that because your character's made of nanomachines, you can turn into. And it's like cool. Just this little like crawly thing that jumps. And in the breach, you have to play as that drone. But the maps are layered on top of each other. So if you're in like square 1028, that corresponds with square 1028 in the breach.
Oh,
so like
okay.
you jump back and forth. So by the time you get maybe somewhere between 50 and 75%, 2/3 through, you get the ability to kind of jump back and forth a little bit more freely. Because originally it's just you find like a portal, you go into the breach, you find the exit portal, and you end up somewhere else. But because these maps layer onto each other, it eventually gets to the point where you can go into the breach and jump out in just some random spot in the map of the overworld where you couldn't get to before.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That is neat.
So like you kind of like you can trace it, and you're like, okay, I'm in 2124 in the breach. Ooh, I haven't been in 2124 in the overworld. I'm just going to pop out really quick. Oh, cool. Here's this area I never saw before, just randomly in the middle of the map.
So is that kind of like your primary sort of exploration? Because I think when I'm thinking like Metroidvania, it's like usually you end up getting like a bunch of stuff that essentially act as like unlocking like keys to unlock areas. Like a double jump's really just a way to get to a new area kind of thing. Is this kind of like that one primary exploration mechanic that like that does, or does it also have that additional?
It has all that stuff.
Yeah.
It has all that stuff. You kind of get both because you get some for your main character and for your drone. So your main character kind of gets your normal, like, oh, you can now climb walls. Oh, you can now do this. But because the game plays with you basically being a part of, combined with these nano machines, it has some cool ones, like ones where you just turn into a pile of nano machines to get through grates. Ones where you get you turn into your drone, and that kind of works as like your morph ball in Metroid. Your drone gets like a grappling hook, all that kind of stuff. So you still get that stuff. This breach overworld thing kind of comes, like I said, like 2/3 of the way through is where that really gets in. It kind of hits you like, whoa, okay, I can now go back anywhere into this world and jump back and forth between these two to do some cool exploration.
That is really cool. That's cool because I feel like a lot of Metroidvania games, when they do the backtracking, it can be like kind of just like you're going through the same areas, but does it make the backtracking then like feel a little bit more unique and different as you're kind of running around new places?
So this one, I didn't feel like I had to backtrack that much.
Oh,
which was actually kind of cool. Again, that's I think part of the reason why I liked it. There were definitely somewhere you had to. Eventually, you unlock fast travel too, so that kind of takes away a lot of that. But most of the backtracking I found was like, okay, ooh, I think I remember this here. Jump to a save point, go like 2 rooms. There I am there. Oh, it never felt like nicer. I had to like retrace half the map to get back somewhere, which is awesome. The exploration of this is great. Like I constantly felt like there's somewhere I could go, even if it was like the wrong way.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it's like, okay, I'm kind of stuck. Oh, well, I know I haven't been through this breach portal. I'll go over there and see where that leads me. And then, oh, look at that. It ended up where I was supposed to be anyway. So it does a great job of just having that exploration be just perfect. It always feels good. There was like one part towards the end where I couldn't quite figure out where to go, and I just kind of ended up messing around for like 45 minutes until I kind of stumbled into it. But 95% of the game, you always kind of had that good idea of where to go. And even if you didn't, it was like very clear, like, well, there's a cool opening on my map there. Let me go double check that. Oh, now I can get through there. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Game also has good upgrade pacing. I feel like my other issue with some Metroidvanias is it's either like the shorter ones, it's like every half hour, not even half hour, every like 15 minutes, you're getting a new upgrade. Get a new upgrade. Or you get the ones where it's like, oh, you got 90% of your upgrades in the first half of the game. Now play the back half of the game with all of them. This felt like they were paced out perfectly. Where it was just the point where it's like, oh, okay, I feel like I mastered how to use the grappling hook. Oh, okay, well, here's this new one. Okay, I feel like I mastered... Oh, well, oop, just stumbled into another one. And even with that, like, you get upgrades to your weapons, too, that are separate from exploration. So even when you're going through, it's like, oh, I've got a new exploration one. Oh, but I got a new boomerang. Oh, I got a new axe. And you get those kind of things as you go. So there's like 3 or 4 things you're upgrading. It has a skill tree, too, that you can kind of upgrade to make your damage and your skills go a little bit higher, too. So you're constantly picking things up, which I feel like in most Metroidvania is just, you're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, does that get a no? I mean, do you like that kind of like constant upgrade? Do you like that constant upgrading as opposed to where it's like these like set points of like getting new stuff?
It's not even constant. It's nice because there's so many different things to upgrade that like I might not have got an upgrade for my drone in an hour, but I got a new axe. I got a couple new skills. Yes, my drone's still doing the same thing it's been doing for an hour, but now my character's playing different. And then, okay, my character's playing the same for the next hour, but my drone got these 2 new upgrades. Or, it's been 45 minutes, but I got a cool new axe. Now I'm doing more melee damage. So the upgrades just, it's paced out so well. I absolutely love this game.
Yeah, clearly.
It's one of those things where like, I was thinking about it as playing it. It's the first game I've played in a while where it was like I constantly felt like, oh, I just want to go back and play more of this. I need to go play more of this. And of course, it was like a super busy week, so it's like, oh, I'll play like 20 minutes on. I want to get back and play more of it. But definitely, if you're interested in Metroidvanias, does so many cool things with it. You need to try it. Like, it does so many good things with the maps, the pacing, the exploration. It always feels good. It looks incredible too. The look, the music, everything, like just the tone, the feeling of it is so good. I love this game.
And then coming off of it, because you played Axiom Verge 1, like coming to this one is just clearly an upgrade in every way, or does it feel different to the point where it could be just not even Axiom Verge, or like, I guess just a little, I don't know if you can talk a little bit to that.
I mean, the main connections are just kind of in tone and setting, and some of these things call back to other things. It's very, very different. I downloaded Axiom Verge, the first one, just because, like, oh man, it's been 6 years. Like, was this the same? And I played maybe the first half hour of it, and it was like, oh, these are not the same game, because that one is literally like, here's your gun, start shooting shit. It's like the beginning. And this one, it's like the first. I had to go back because there's some weird character changes and stuff to get footage for this. And I went back to the first one. It's like, I played like the first 15 minutes. I didn't even kill anything. Like, I was just like wandering through trying to find stuff. So I think the first one very much feels like old school, like, let's make a new version of like Super Metroid, those old games like this. Whereas this is going, okay, you know what? I feel like I kind of have some space now to do something unique, and it feels very unique. There are some cool throwbacks here and there that I don't really want to point out, just because there was one where it's like, oh shit, that's and I was like, okay, like, I haven't played this game in 6 years, but that thing stuck out to me. It's like, oh, okay, there's a connection here. So there is some really cool stuff with that, but I don't want to get too much into it.
Yeah, it's kind of like peppered throughout. But okay, I was just curious because it seemed like just such a different game, just like looking at just visually, visually, just like a very different game. Yeah, it's very different. So even if you didn't like the first Axiom Verge, I think there's enough different here where you could jump into this and go, I hated that first one. Yeah. But this one's really cool with some of the things that it does different. But cool. Anyway, we are Workforce Gaming. You can follow us on Twitter at Workforce Gaming. Subscribe to us wherever you're listening, and we will see you later. Bye.